Hi, this is Dice from FSK Audio. In this video, I'll take you on a quick tour of ModPlay to show you what it is and how it does it. Ready? Let's go! ModPlay is a revolutionary plugin for plugins that's specifically designed to enhance your favorite tools. It's a flexible and playable LFO that adds a whole new dimension to your sounds by modulating parameters on any MIDI controllable plugin or device. ModPlay itself does not process or generate audio. Instead, it generates an LFO signal that is sent out as MIDI control data. A downstream plugin or device receives that data and uses it to control parameters, thereby affecting the sound. And there's a huge variety of ways to affect your sound using LFO modulation. Now that you know what ModPlay is, let's take a look at how it's laid out. ModPlay's interface is composed of three functional blocks: the LFO, outputs, and snapshots. The LFO section is where you create the LFO's shape and speed. The rate bar is where you configure everything related to the speed and running of the LFO. On the left, you'll find tempo settings. Usually, you would leave it synced to the host application's tempo. In the middle, you set the LFO speed or rate in either frequency or note divisions. And on the right, you can select how the LFO is re-triggered. Below the graph are the parameters that determine the shape of the LFO signal. The shape knob allows you to morph between sine, triangle, and square waves, and then various levels of randomness. The skew knob moves the peaks of the wave shape closer or farther apart. For the square wave, it adjusts the pulse width, which is the duration of the positive portion of the wave shape. The phase knob shifts the entire wave shape left or right. The polarity determines how the LFO signal moves relative to the base level. More on this later when we look at the outputs section. On the right of the graph are functions that help you set different shapes. Clicking on this wave icon opens a menu of basic shapes that are great as starting points. They are also kind of nice for learning how the shape parameters interact to create these different wave shapes. For instance, ramps can be created by combining skew and phase settings. The dice button randomizes the LFO shape parameters. The randomization amount knob lets you control how subtle or radical the value changes will be when you hit randomize. Lastly, you can increase or decrease the number of grid lines, which help you line up timing. The graph provides clear visual feedback on the adjustments you make, as well as indicate the LFO signal that is being generated. Let's move on to the output section. The output section determines where and how the LFO is sent. There are 4 outputs. An output is activated when you assign a MIDI CC number. Each output has dedicated settings to tweak the output signal. The center knob is the base level. This determines the initial value from which the LFO signal will modulate. The outer ring is the modulation amount. This determines how far the LFO signal will move away from the base level. At negative values, the direction of the modulation is reversed. The polarity selector, which we looked at before, determines how the modulation moves relative to the bass level. In bipolar, the signal moves above and below the bass level. In unipolar, the signal moves to only one side of the bass level. Finally, each output can be muted. Using these individual output settings, the LFO can be fine-tuned for each target parameter. Now let's check out the snapshots. Snapshots are what makes ModPlay a playable LFO. Snapshots store combinations of settings which can then be switched in real time, allowing you to easily perform changes to the modulation. Storing a snapshot is simple. When you have a setting that you like, simply click on an empty slot and the settings are stored. Then you can make more changes, then save that into another slot. To overwrite a slot, hold Command and click. Right-clicking reveals a menu with some more options. Once you have some snapshots, you can switch them in real time. The snapshots can be triggered using MIDI notes, so you can improvise, experiment, and perform your setting changes with ease. Not to mention, it's a lot of fun. Switching is so easy that you can casually experiment with timing and settings in a way that is impossible with existing methods. ModPlay is designed for speedy results. There aren't 100 parameters, nor endless tweaking. Instead, you quickly build different shapes, then switch between them using snapshots to make some magic. This is a much more intuitive and organic workflow that helps you create something that reflects your artistic sensibilities. And I can't wait to hear what you come up with. So that was an overview of ModPlay. If you found that interesting, head on over to fskaudio.com to grab a free trial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more tips and tricks. Happy modulating!